Her name was June, a young woman full of life, carrying the joy of a new life within her. But little did she know that the gift of motherhood would soon come wrapped in a web of confusion, lies, and jealousy.
Before we go further, like, comment, and subscribe to enjoy more thought-provoking stories like this and the lessons they leave behind.
June had always been cautious about her relationships, yet in the heat of a whirlwind romance, she found herself caught up with 4 different men. June never intended for any of it to go this far, but when she found out she was pregnant, the truth of her past entanglements came to the surface. Each had their own claim to her heart, and in the end, each had left their mark. One, James, was a passionate but possessive lover. Another, Jonathan, was a carefree soul with a magnetic charm. Jerome, an ambitious, self-assured man, and Johnny, the quiet yet dependable one. The man who believed the child was his. James. He was obsessed with the idea that the baby she carried was his, even though there was no certainty. When June finally shared the news, he was the first to claim ownership of the child, but the others weren't far behind. One by one, the other 3 men, Jonathan, Jerome, and Johnny, claimed the baby was theirs as well. And suddenly, June found herself in a nightmarish battle. She never asked for any of this. The scene was tense. June sat in the police station, distraught and confused. She had never intended for things to get out of hand, but now the very thing she had feared, her life turning into a circus, had come to pass. The police had called them in, each man sitting across from one another, accusations flying in every direction.
The tension was palpable. James was irate, standing by his claim. He shouted at the others, accusing them of being liars and imposters, each trying to stake a claim to the child that was his. "This is my baby," James shouted, his voice echoing in the sterile police station room. "You all need to leave June alone. I'm the father. And I'll prove it. This child is mine." Jonathan, ever the playful one, tried to stay calm, though a look of genuine disbelief crossed his face. "We'll see about that, won't we?" he said with a chuckle, but there was no humor in his voice. Jerome, the quiet one, simply looked at the ground, his face full of regret. Johnny, the ambitious one, stood firm, his arms crossed over his chest, defending his claim just as fiercely. The police were at their wits' end. June couldn't help but cry as she watched the men fight for something they all had no real claim to. The only certainty she had was that she was carrying a child, but whose child was it? She knew she'd never asked for this chaos. After days of back-and-forth drama, the paternity test results finally arrived. The answer that was revealed was shocking: none of the men were the father. In an ironic twist of fate, the true father was someone neither of them had suspected, a man who had been on the periphery of her life. Her childhood friend, who had always cared for her in silence, was the biological father. The revelation hit hard, leaving the men dumbfounded and speechless. James, especially, had been so sure that the child was his, but in the end, his obsession with the idea had only led to chaos. The other men were just as confused, angry, and hurt. June, however, felt a strange sense of relief. She had never intended for this mess to happen, and now that the truth was out, she could finally breathe. In the end, the men were left to pick up the pieces of their egos, while June, now a mother, had to figure out how to raise her child in peace, free from the drama of her past.